So, as we said, the return to TNT Barbed Wire is here, and as promised, I gave you a little insight into what to expect from our first guest, Big Effin' Joe, and I'm joined by him now as we speak. Big Effin' Joe, thank you for joining me and taking time out of your day to be here.
No worries, man. Glad to be here.
I want to kick off talking about DOA and the deathmatch scene right now. You have been clawing your way, making a name for yourself, and really putting deathmatch wrestling on the map. And DOA was one of those moments that you were able to solidify yourself as one of the biggest workers in the entirety of Europe, really. So, first of all, talk to me about the deathmatch scene and what was the attraction for you.
I mean, for me, it was always growing up as a little kid. Power Slam magazine was a big thing in the UK back in the day. Seeing those pictures in the back from Japan, Anita and FMW covered in fire. Seeing the pictures from CZW falling into tape trading. It was just always a thing I've wanted to do, is be a wrestler, but then to do the death matches as well was always, even as a kid, it's always been a goal.
And you've gone against some of the best deathmatch workers in the world, and some of them staples and, again, legends within the business. Is there anyone still on the list of Big Effin' Joe to kind of get in there, mix it up with, and really hone what you do to the world?
I mean, the number one on the list that I need to do would be Nick Gage, right? It'd have to
Yeah.
be him. Like,
Yeah.
I've worked Tremont, I've worked Alex Cologne. I've pretty much had a who's who in the past 2 years of deathmatch wrestling. Obviously, here in England, the likes of Clint, Iceman. It's definitely got to be Gage. That's definitely top on my list.
I think we'd all agree that seeing that match would be a must view, a must see, a must watch. So if TNT management are listening, I think that's one for the future of DOA, definitely. And we talk about DOA, we talk about Clint Margera. Let's talk about DOA. You managed to walk away from what some people perceive as arguably the biggest deathmatch wrestling event in Europe. And you, again, fought your way through some brutal battles, very bloody battles as well, to be finally crowned the DOA tournament winner. I mean, talk us through the emotions that were going through your head on that night.
It was definitely a long night, that's for sure. I was just glad that so many people turned up. I'd say it was definitely a historic moment in British wrestling deathmatch history, at least. By far the biggest drawing deathmatch show in the UK, Europe. So it was good to finally cement, my position in TNT, get the win, and in front of so many people. It's just a fucking crazy night.
It was indeed an absolute crazy night. And as you said, the crowd were electric. It was wall-to-wall packed. And it was one of those moments, Joe, where I noticed as soon as that bell rung and you were crowned that tournament winner with the trophy, you could tell there was a little bit of personal emotion there. Was this something you'd worked towards for a long time?
Yeah, because it was like the deathmatch scenes, it does get a lot of heat and looked down upon by people in the genre of wrestling. So it was a good fuck you to all of those, that there is deathmatch wrestling, and it was probably a good drawing show financially for TNT. It was good as well because I remember years ago being booked for TNT and then not getting called back. So it was like a big, like, this is my fucking time now. Like, they all come crawling back, right? So
Yeah.
it was good to cement my place in British wrestling.
And this could arguably be the introduction now to creating the legacy of Big Effin' Joe, going from strength to strength to something new, something big, something important. And we talk about that. We talk about going off big time, which is TNT's next event, which is where you do face off against Clint Margera for the Extreme Division title. How prestigious is this title, and how important is it for you to finally put your hands on that title as yours?
I mean, just no bullshit. Like, me and Clint's one of the OGs in British wrestling, especially in the deathmatch scene. We've had our wars in TNT, up and down the country, Rise, Kumite. We've had some fucking wars, but I kind of need this belt really. I've got everything belt wise that's important in Europe, deathmatch wrestling wise. I've got the Kumite belt, the European deathmatch title, but this one's eluded me. So, I kind of need this. So it's tough shit, Clint. I want to get over. I want to make towns. I want to, live off professional wrestling. So I really have to get this belt.
And I don't want to kind of cause any animosity or kind of ruffle any feathers here, but this is the third time you're going to be coming up against Clint Margera for the title. So far, you've come up short, but what's going to be different this time for Big Effing Joe?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've come up short in TNT, but let's not get it twisted. I've come up with the W in various other promotions. So I think I'm personally, not egotistically, the best I've ever been. So I can see this being a war, but I think now is my time. Like Clint, you've been the poster boy for TNT for years, but now is fucking my time. So we'll see what actually goes down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we did poke and prod TNT management on a stipulation. Where was this going to go? And we have found out, news coming out today, that this is going to be bell to bell, an all-out full TNT death match. So anything goes. There is no limits to what this match can hold. Does that play in your favor a little bit? Because we do know Big Effing Joe doesn't play by the rules anyway.
Yeah, of course. Like, if I'm going to do a death match, I'm not here to pussy about and phone it in. If too long in Brit Rest, death match has been like a buzzword. Oh, we're going to have a fucking beach ball summer death match and just bastardize it, and it kind of pisses me off because like people do use death match for clout. Like, oh, I've done a death match. I missed the death. Like, I'm an indie god and all that sort of shit. So when I see death match on a show, I expect it to be full on balls to the wall death match. So I guarantee, under the reign of Big Fucking Joe, every death match is going to be real deal.
Please don't judge, but I commentated that beach ball death match.
So much like, oh yeah, with death match, and it's like there's like a pap smear of blood, and you get like people, oh, I've done a death match and it was just kendo sticks. That's like pots and pans. There's a place for that, but don't say you're death match if you're not. And like Clint is death match, so I give him that. But this is going to be probably the craziest death match I think in the history of TNT, easily.
Well, that's something super exciting for TNT fans and probably all the crew as well here at TNT, because we are used to seeing death matches, but by the sounds of this is going to be the ultimate death match, and it's going to be something that you have never witnessed before. So make sure that you're getting your tickets for Going Off Big Time for Clint Margera versus Big Effing Joe for that Extreme Division Championship. And before I let you go, a couple of things that I just want to talk about briefly. Big Effing Joe, GCW Weekender. It's happening again in 2023, something you're already familiar with. Is this again something you're going into thinking, well, look, this is my time, so whatever it takes, I'm going to showcase not just to Liverpool or to the UK, but to the world on what Big Effing Joe is capable of?
Of course. Like, I never take a night off. I've been to GCW before. They know who the fuck I am. I'm not fucking about. They're lucky to be here with TNT, right? So they can come over here and then they can prove to us how fucking good they really are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And very much looking forward to seeing you in action on that weekender. And Big F and Joe, it's been great to have you here today on the first episode of TNT Barbed Wire. But I do want to kind of give you the floor. I know you've got a few words for Clint later on in the week, building up to Going Off Big Time. But is there anything specific that you haven't already mentioned that you just want a special message direct to Clint Margera?
Yeah, like, this isn't like storyline bullshit. Just Clint, like, we owe it to ourselves, to the history of British deathmatch. Don't be taking any more matches the week before. Make sure you're all healed up and healthy, so there's no fucking bullshit excuses. No cuts or anything. Because, like I said, this we need this. This TNT needs this death match. I need this, and I need the best Clint there is. He's been killing it recently, but just kill it, but don't kill it too much, Clint, because this is the fucking dance this time when you step up against Big fucking Joe.
Perfect. And no doubt Clint Margera will need to be ready for one hell of a bloody brutal brawl and going off big time. So again, make sure you grab your tickets. And for everything else, TNT on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're even on TikTok these days. Big effing Joe, once again, thank you very much for joining me today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.